Tonight's edition of high school girls basketball would be a shining example of a friendly. We've got a pair of top 10 teams in 3A and 4A who will engage in a friendly. No section or state tournament seeding to worry about, but it should be a high-octane affair. The Como Park Cougars on a roll in Class 3A take on the Eden Prairie Eagles. Eden Prairie, one of 5 lake teams in the top 10 in the Class 4A poll. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Peden, joined by LaToya Turk, and if you didn't notice, we didn't mention records here because even though both are ranked, this is a matchup where you can throw the records out the window. This is a friendly matchup these two have looked forward to since the calendar was released. In particular, you could build this matchup as Rondogg, the nickname bestowed to Ronnie Porter by Nia Holloway, and the Legend, which is what Nia was called in AAU. Ronnie and Nia have been looking forward to this game for a long time. LaToya, why are they looking forward to this matchup?
Well, you know, even though it's a game of fun and there's nothing that really is at stake for this game, it is a preparatory game because each team gets to meet up with a high-level competitor. And so De La Salle's going to, Como Park is going to show Eden Prairie that quick backcourt that they might not get an opportunity to see on a regular basis. And then Eden Prairie is going to show Como Park how to get it done in the paint with Nia and Savanna tonight.
Como Park, small but scrappy, that has been their mantra for years. Ronnie Porter among the state leaders in assists and steals. She and KK Asberry, one of the most ferocious backcourts in the state, both coming off season highs in their win over Mountain Iron Buell. Ronnie Porter dropped 32, KK Asberry dropped 29. Ronnie Porter still has yet to decide on a college. KK Asberry has her college plans made up, but anytime those two are on the floor together, look out.
Yeah, and it's really hard to cover both at the same time. It's almost like you have to pick your poison. And the guards for Eden Prairie are really going to have to play solid defense. Ronnie and KK can shoot outside, and they can get to the rack, and they have post players that can shoot as well. So it's going to be interesting to see the defensive coverage that Eden Prairie gives to Como Park tonight.
The last time we saw Eden Prairie, they lost to Hopkins. The Eagles have run into some turbulence against late conference opponents, although that is to be expected with the talent among the group of 7. Nia Holloway, of course, the future Gopher. She has 4 double-doubles on the season. Savanna Jones is coming along strong. Myra Moorjani, Molly Lenz guide the offense. Eden Prairie almost has 2 point guards running the show. The Eagles might be the favorite for those reasons, but LaToya, it's going to be interesting to see what strategy Eden Prairie opts to go with because they have a number of options at their disposal.
And that's a plus for them. They do have a number of options, and they're extremely disciplined in their offense, and they execute. And so that's going to be interesting as well to see defensively if Como Park can hold their composure and stay out of foul trouble because they aren't as deep as Eden Prairie once they go into their bench play. And so Eden Prairie, if they just continue to run their offense, might be beneficial for them tonight.
In short, expect a lot of possessions, a lot of points. These two teams won't hesitate to run the floor. We'll be back for the starting lineups. This is high school girls basketball.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Tough shot! It goes in!
And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Mike Peden and LaToya Turk rejoining you at Eden Prairie. And LaToya, I did have a chance to talk to Yolanda England and the Holloways before the game. There's a little bit of a friendly rivalry. Yolanda is hoping that Nia will find a way to have a negative number of rebounds. -10. I don't think it works out that way. And likewise, Nolana ran into Shakyla Walker beforehand and said, "You're going to drop 30 tonight, right?"
You know, these kids have played together for quite some time. When you get to this level, you spent a lot of Saturday mornings together, playing against each other, playing with each other. So it's only rightfully so that we have that healthy, competitive competition among each other.
And let's remind the audience that Nia Holloway, Ronnie Porter, KK Asberry, they were all AAU teammates for a time at North Tartan. And there's Ronnie Porter, the 3-time St. Paul City Conference Player of the Year. And did Greta, did she have a phone with, or was that just...
Yeah, that was really nice. I like that.
She took a selfie
Yeah.
in the middle of the starting lineup introductions.
We've seen it all. We've seen so many dances and handshakes, and I would never be able to remember that many different handshakes and poses, but they seem to pull it off.
I bet you could. If you were a player, if you were still out there, I think you would remember more than you give yourself credit for.
Oh my. And they're so creative. Every single one has a different one.
As we noted, you can throw the records out the window, but if you are wondering, Como Park is 12-5, Eden Prairie 12-3. Como Park right now, the favorites to get the 1 seed in Section 3-3A, and Eden Prairie in a tight one with Chaska and Minnetonka. Minnetonka got the double overtime win over Chaska, but the two schools have yet to meet in conference play, so a lot to be decided. So with the starters introduced, let's recap them for you. The visiting Como Park Cougars, slight change to their lineup. You'll see Ronnie Porter, number 1. KK Asberry, the St. Peter commit, number 24. Shakyla Walker, number 30. Jada James, number 42. And Janae Singer, number 44. Eden Prairie will start their usual 5, so it's Molly Lenz, the Illinois State Verbal, number 3. Myra Moorjani, the UMD commit, number 13. Savanna Jones, number 32. Tori Schlegel, the freshman, number 33. And Nia Holloway, the future Minnesota player, number 41. And I just saw Tara Starks and I think Alexis Garcia from Hopkins. Of course, Hopkins and Eden Prairie have an upcoming meeting in late conference play. We saw them on Friday. We'll see them again on Wednesday. Hopkins, I would peg them right now as the favorites to win it all in Class 4A. In 3A, I have no idea.
Yeah, like, you know, I've said this, I just have said this so many times behind this microphone that there's so much good basketball right now.
And the reason I say I have no idea in 3A because Austin, they were number 1. I think they still are. Como Park got a win against them. Mankato East beat them. And then De La Salle beat Mankato East. I haven't seen Becker yet, but I know they're loaded. Holy Angels looking really sharp. It's going to be a dogfight in section play. Those section finals, LaToya, you talk about a Sweet 16. Some liken those section finals to a Sweet 16 round. And you know, that's going to be a lot of fun.
For all of those players who aren't signed or who are underclassmen, it's a great time for coaches to get to see them because it will be the NCAA evaluation period as well. So just a lot of good basketball.
Eden Prairie wins the tip, and we're underway.
And, you know, you can see right away they're trying to keep Eden Prairie's bigs out of the paint. You know, I had a conversation with some of our crew before the game about the foul count and what that was going to look like tonight. If Eden Prairie gets some of the smaller guards in foul trouble here with Como, that could be a problem.
Como doesn't have as much height. Holloway. Over to Moorjani. Schlegel, the freshman, she's made an impact. So is Nia Holloway. Nia Holloway flourishes down low. 4 double-doubles. on the season, 3 20-point games. KK Asberry lines up the three, buries it.
And you know, Eden Prairie does do a good job of that full court press that they put on, but you're going to have to definitely rotate over to cover that 3-point shot. And we've seen right away Eden Prairie go right inside both of their offensive possessions.
Savanna Jones posting up on the last possession for the Eagles. Asberry launches another three. Jones with the rebound. Savanna Jones with a couple double-doubles. Tori Schlegel with the finish in transition.
You know, that was one thing we saw them do against Hopkins as well, was run the floor.
Janae Singer gets on the board. Singer averaging 4.1 a game, didn't join the lineup until later. Nia Holloway.
We don't get to see that often.
Doesn't shoot the three often, but Eden Prairie does get the offensive rebound. Jones. Nia Holloway trying to cut inside. Jones can't get around Singer, though, and has to find Moorjani to avoid the 5-second count.
And that's going to be key.
Oh, nice high-low.
I was going to say that's going to be key for Como Park, is to keep those bigs out of the paint, but each and every time.
Walker steps into the three. The thing with Eden Prairie, and you see this with the top teams, their bigs are mobile. Tori
Yes.
Schlegel short on the three. And it's not just Eden Prairie. This is all over the state. You don't have those slow tortoise post players anymore. They can move. They are mobile. They are quick.
You know, the women's game really has evolved and elevated, and there's so many opportunities to train.
Nia Holloway showcasing her elevation on the block. Extra pass to Schlegel. And Nia Holloway picks up the assist on the off-balance dish. Eden Prairie with a 10-5 lead. Ronnie Porter. Bullseye. Ronnie Porter coming off her second 30-point game of the season. Myra Moorjani blows through. Can't finish, but Savanna Jones is there to clean it up.
And, you know, Eden Prairie has bigs that do rebound, you know, and they're rebounding. They've rebounding right at 7-8 rebounds per game. And why do I keep calling Como Park De La Salle? Please forgive me, fans.
Ronnie Porter, deep three.
Chloe Dimtrick's about to come in, but she's one of their leading rebounders, and I think we're going to need to see her on the floor getting a body on some of those bigs for Eden Prairie to prevent some of those second chance opportunities.
Nia Holloway averaging 7.7 rebounds per game. Savanna Jones 5.7. Eden Prairie doesn't have that explosive score. Then again, neither does Hopkins or Minnetonka. They have enough talent in their lineup to spread it around.
Spread the wealth.
Como Park, most of their production runs through Asberry and Porter. They are the two double-digit scorers. Although Walker and James, Jada commits the traveling violation. Walker and James are right behind them.
I love the mental game that Ronnie Porter plays. You can see her even with the ball, when the ball isn't in her hands, her acceleration and change of pace that she uses to throw off her defender.
Lenz, the skip to Schlegel. Entry feed to Jones. There's Dimitrick. Dimitrick going to Waldorf. There's Kayla James, the younger of the James sisters.
I wondered how long it was going to take the CDC down there, the Como Dad crew, to get started. You can kind of hear them sideline coaching already.
Jada James for three. Eden Prairie ball, 13-10 left in the first half. 12-8 the score. Como Park. You could consider this game a prologue to a brutal February as far as matchups, well, it's been actually the whole week. This last week was a stretch run. They had Mountain Iron Buell on Saturday in a game they won 82-62. They will get East Ridge on Friday and Hill Murray on the 11th. Hill Murray, a makeup of the Hill Murray tournament. And part of it is owing to the cancellations in St. Paul City Conference play. Nia Holloway at the line. If you don't know her story, a big fan of history. Angie Thomas, the MCU, and became fast friends with her future Gophers teammates. If you watch the Care 11 piece on Nia Holloway, she said when it was Mallory High who committed first, then Nia did. Those two started hanging out, and she said after Mara committed, then they all started hanging out, and then after Amaya joined them, that's when Nia and the others are going, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But look out, Sam. But it is cool to see those four become fast friends. Their parents have all told me they can't get enough of each other. They all love hanging out together. Savanna Jones loves hanging out down low.
Yeah, that's really going to be a sore spot right there in that pain area.
KK Asberry stops, pops, no good. And that will be a foul on Savanna Jones.
Yes.
Go ahead.
It's going to be really important for those Como post players to get in position. And just like the Eden Prairie post players are jockeying for position down there and trying to draw that contact, it's going to need to be the same on the other end of the floor for them. And there you go, using those long arms, that additional height. And see, this is a transitional defense thing here, right? You have a fast break, that initial shot is missed, you got to have a trailer. I think
Eden Prairie has excelled in that area.
Yeah, she just lost her footing there, so I don't think there was anything intentional. But she does pick up her second foul, and she is one of the stronger defenders in the paint. And they're going to keep her in.
Interesting decision by Yolanda England. We'll see how it pans out. Ronnie Porter looking to pickpocket Schlegel. Nia Holloway not giving up on the three, sinks it.
Adding a little range to her game there. It's going to pay off in the Big Ten. You know, I don't know how much post play she's going to get in the Big Ten, so she will be shooting deeper shots than what she's normally shooting here in this late conference.
Nia Holloway shooting 33%. Doesn't go out to the perimeter often, though. Just 5 of 15 entering this game. But there's someone who can knock down threes. Ronnie Porter. Well, if she can't get the three, she'll find a way to maneuver around her coverage. She is so quick.
She has amazing ball handling skills. She probably handles the ball better than any of the guards that I see today as far as just her skill set.
I know you and I have had discussions on why a college hasn't signed her up yet. KK Asberry steps into the three. Bullseye.
Yeah, she does a great job of defending against the bigger guards. Her basketball IQ is amazing.
Savanna Jones is feasting down low.
Yeah, she's having a field day. And if you notice, each time she scored, she's caught the defender on her back. And so maybe a little quarter front might help Como Park or help side defense to just prevent her from getting that ball, that easy entry pass into the lane.
Timeout, Como Park. Savanna Jones with a pair of double-doubles, picking them up recently against St. Michael Albertville, a game Eden Prairie won, and Maranatha, Eden Prairie's most recent game, that won a runaway win. 21-11 the score, and Savanna Jones will have a free throw forthcoming. Jones, the junior, played on the 2022 Metro Stars 3 SSB. That's their top AAU team last summer. So she played alongside most of the Hopkins kids, Aaliyah Crump, Michaela Almer, who I'll be seeing next weekend when Cabern Chaisani pays a visit to St. Croix Lutheran. Jones wasn't the strongest post player, usually came off the bench, but she could hold her own.
Yeah, and she's only a junior, so she's going to get good time over this summer, so she'll get to go back at it again this summer, and then next year I'm sure she'll return as a starting post player here, and she's definitely showing off her skill set dominating in this paint here. I think she's the second leading rebounder on the team as well, if I'm not mistaken.
You would be right.
After the Nia Holloway.
Correct as usual, LaToya.
I'm just happy to pronounce their names right for the most part, but it's probably because we've seen these teams so many times. So yeah, I apologize for that too, ladies.
Well, beforehand, I spoke with you and others about how strange it was for me because I don't have to prep as hard. Not that I take a play off or a game off, but I've seen these two teams enough that I know their names. I know what they've had for breakfast. Okay, maybe not that much.
Yeah, did you just see that help side defense from Eden Prairie? Swarm or letting anything get in that paint, but with the score being 22-11, we just got to make those little bunny shots there.
There's Ronnie, and as her mother reminded me before the game, Ronnie denied, but Singer is there.
Great box out there by Savanna.
I'll share the rest of that story in a moment. Here's Molly Lenz.
And, Molly holds her own at the point guard position, too. I think the last time we were here, she had an amazing game.
She had a signature performance in the win over Maple Grove, dropped 21. The only time she has broken 20 this season, but she and Nia Holloway paired up splendidly. And there's Lenz, who gets the friendly bounce on the 15-footer. 24-11. Eagles over Cougars. Jada James out to Ronnie. Ronnie used up the dribble. Como looking for
I would just like to see a little more movement here from Como Park.
Asberry. 3 no good. Jones couldn't handle the rebound, though. Oh, Singer had it. As the saying goes, you wonder if they were too open.
Yeah.
That was an easy layup, and instead it's a turnover.
And it was much needed. It would have been much needed. But, it's right there. It's right there. They've missed that little bunny and just some turnovers. But they're also forcing some turnovers defensively, too. So
tough break for the Cougars. Deflected pass, Como ball. So to finish that story, Yolanda reminded me of this before the game. I've been following Ronnie and KK since 8th grade.
Me too.
And then I had to remind myself it's been that long.
Yes. Yeah, I think maybe I was a little earlier than you. I started watching them when they were playing under Yolanda and their AAU program, Ballin' Pretty, and they were playing out of the Jimmy Lee Rec Center over in St. Paul.
Here's Ronnie. Affectionately known as Rondogg, hooking up with Walker. Walker's three's off the mark. Rebound won by Singer.
And Singer's fighting for every single rebound down there. What year is Singer? Is she a junior as well?
Singer is a junior.
Yeah.
And she's averaging 4.5 rebounds per game. So she has been producing at a solid clip.
When you're playing against a team like Eden Prairie, you really have to execute your offensive sets. We're seeing little movement on the Como Park side offensively. To see Savanna finishes another
Savanna
transition.
Jones, I think she's been executing. Ronnie Porter drains the runner. You can't hold her down for long. And then Ronnie forcing the traveling call. Ronnie's always going to find a way to get involved.
That little sneaky.
Well, at 5'3", you and I spoke of this, and Nolana, Nia's mother, for someone like Ronnie, undersized at 5'3", so you almost have to work twice as hard to get noticed.
And I think she's done that. I think she's done an amazing job of holding her own against high-level competitors in high school play and AAU play.
Eagles on the run. It's Annika Anderson. Mid-range J too strong.
And so that's a situation there where you need a trailer on that offensive transition there.
(26-13). Ronnie, the kick out. 3 on the way. James is short. And I've noticed Eden Prairie playing a bit smaller right now. Nia Holloway and Savanna Jones on the bench.
You know, they have a comfortable lead, you know, even though Como Park has
I was going to say, Como's got the speed to close in on that.
And we'll see if they take this to their advantage, use this to their advantage.
Schlegel for 3. Swish.
And she shot that over Chloe Dimtrick, who's one of the taller players for Como Park, with a hand in her face.
Ronnie Porter finding her stroke. She's up to 7. But Eden Prairie has a 2-touchdown lead over Como Park, 29-15.
So I want to point something out here. When you see the defensive play between Ronnie and KK, they've played at a little bit higher level than some of the other girls. They do a great job on switching defensively. And then when you're on the other side of the court, some of the girls are getting lost on that switch, which is leaving even Eden Prairie open for their three-point shot or their big right underneath the basket.
We've seen that trend play out sometimes. Concordia Academy comes to mind when Yvonne Tensai was making her way through the ranks. Benilde St. Margaret's as well with Olivia Olson.
Right.
Ronnie shakes Moorjani. Almost had a highlight. One of many in her reel. Moorjani to Molly. 3-ball, corner pocket. Don't forget, Eden Prairie has some three-point shooters. Lenz and Moorjani in particular. Asberry pump fakes. Couldn't get the feed in cleanly. Walker can't hit the runner. Going back to what you said, LaToya. Moorjani wants in on the action. Her 3 is short. And an over-the-back foul on Eden Prairie.
And there's got to be communication on that transition defense, like who's stopping the ball, who's got the shooter. You got to identify where the shooters are and cover them.
We mentioned some of the makeup games or the late additions. Como Park also has games with Minnehaha Academy and Becker. Minnehaha they will host. Becker they will go on the road. Becker, that game could be a potential tournament preview.
Both very tough teams to face. And now you can see right away the EP sprints out.
Ronnie Porter snuck in from behind. Finds Kayla James. Ronnie makes it look so effortless.
Yes.
Eden Prairie can't score on the run. Walker scoops up the rebound, but Annika Anderson was right there. She gets past Kayla James, and oh, that hurts.
Just gather yourself, clear out, get your ball to your guard.
That stings, though.
Yes.
And we're going to have a timeout. We're trying to sort out. We know the foul was on Eden Prairie. We're trying to figure out who the timeout is charged to.
So there was a foul underneath the basket.
That I know.
Yes.
Who called the timeout?
Yeah, I saw her signal 30. I saw Coach Yolanda.
Okay, it was Como Park. We were trying to figure out who called the timeout. They don't have it up on the board, but they do have to keep track of it in the scores table.
And we don't have TV timeouts today, so.
No TV timeouts, even though This is a TSP television broadcast. No, we're not that big.
Yet.
I don't mind going home a few minutes early anyway.
Right. Those TV timeouts are so awkward, too. We're just kind of standing there.
Well, those TV timeouts when you get to the state tournament actually are helpful for all those teams because they don't have to sub as much. You get those
can be a lifesaver.
Pre-planned breaks, especially for the smaller schools. You don't have to sub as often. Ronnie. Every time she touches the ball, big things can happen. She'll pick up another assist. Chloe Dimitri drains the 3.
Definitely hit that 3.
And now what? Okay, a foul on Walker off the inbound. Chloe Dimitrick is a 3-point specialist for this Como Park team, has been for years.
You can hear Miss Vanette over there on the bench, advising her team to get back on defense. I was so excited to see her play this year. I think she suffered another knee injury. I talked to her dad before the game, and he said that she got an infection in her knee, so she's going to be out for a little longer. So I am sending well wishes to you, Miss Vanette.
I saw Michaela
Yes.
on my way in. And you're right, I don't see Shania out there. I know she's on the bench, but I don't see her
She's
on the
another
floor.
3-point sniper.
I know she's been dealing with some knee issues over the last couple of years. Porter to Dimitrick again. They can't hook up that time.
And speaking of Michaela, I call her Boo Boo. She is finishing up school. She's said she's majoring in psychology with a minor in American Indian Studies. So that means I'm getting old.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I just saw Crystal. Yes, Crystal's here. And Trey, I think. And they got here just in time to see Nia Holloway score off the inbound. 34-20. And Holloway has a quiet 9, if you want to call it that, with Savanna Jones off to a frenetic start.
Great talking on defense there by Eden Prairie.
Asberry.
Great help side defense by Eden Prairie, forcing that turnover there. Yeah, but geez, are the kids I coach now graduating college, Mike? Wow.
I've been doing this for 15 years, LaToya, 16 now. You want to, well, some of these kids were infants when I started calling games. Nia Holloway.
Another longer shot than what we're normally seeing for her.
With some of the younger players like Tori Schlegel, I don't think she was born yet when I started calling games. That's how long I've been doing this. Porter. Shaking defenders. Oh my goodness. Ronnie slipped past everyone.
And she definitely has the ability to put this team on her back and score. Gonna need good defensive rotation here, and there she is.
On cue, she gets the steal, hooks up with Asberry for 2. And Ronnie can change the game in an instant. In the meeting with De La Salle, she scored on 4 straight possessions to turn a tight one into a big win for the Cougars. But Eden Prairie, they know who the hot hand is down low, and they feed it to the beast. Savanna Jones up to 15.
We've talked about the high-low rotation that some of the teams have the capabilities of using. We look at De La Salle and their player personnel. They have the capabilities of using the high-low. But I think Savanna and Nia do an excellent job with their high-low offense.
Asberry, step back. Another rebound for Nia. She's off to the races. Laser skip to Schlegel, who was setting it up for Jones. I bet you Schlegel missed it on purpose so Savanna Jones could get 2 more. No, that's not how it went. But, like you said, LaToya, Eden Prairie and their ability to trail in this game, doing wonders for them offensively. Ronnie.
She's taking a lot of contact.
EP on the run again. Ronnie Porter with the block and maintained her dribble, so she was able to get back up. Whoa,
What a highlight. She's feeling it.
40-24. Ronnie's feeling it. Can she get the rest of the team to join her? That's the question.
Yes.
Because Eden Prairie holds a 40-24 lead.
And like you said, she makes it look so effortless. I mean, she's gotten 2 blocks already this game.
And she's 5'3". This is a 5'3" guard getting blocks.
And that's on paper, so we know what she really is.
Oh,
that
nice
was a great
feed.
pass.
Holloway went behind the back. Savanna Jones, 19 points, 1 away from her season high with just over a minute to go in the first half.
And they're capitalizing off of the double from Como Park. You know, it's going to need to be some rotation there.
And an offensive foul on Como Park. So unofficially, LaToya, Ronnie Porter has 15 blocks on the season.
Wow.
She did grow an inch, apparently. She was 5'2" for a while. And now the Eagles get the ball back. Will they feed it to Jones? Or will Holloway take it herself? Ball was hit from behind. It will stay with EP.
You know, with that offensive set, they have so many options off of that because there was a shooter at the top of the key as well.
Lenz to Holloway. Got a couple of pushes on Porter there. Lenz fires the 3 short. Holloway did want to go against Porter. Ronnie, her 3 is short, and Asberry can't catch up to it in time.
I think there's a question if there was a tip or not on that
Asberry,
possession.
I think, touched it last before it went out of bounds, so I thought it was EP ball, and that is the case.
And we'll see if EP holds this for a last shot here. Their spacing looks really good offensively. Very good spacing there.
Savanna Jones doesn't want to wait, and I don't blame her. That's a new season high.
In the first half.
In the first half, 5 seconds. Asberry, turn around. No good. That brings the first half to an end. Savanna Jones had one 20-point game all season. She has 21 points in this half. And Eden Prairie leads Como Park 44-24. LaToya, 21 points in 18 minutes. That's pretty efficient.
Yeah, she understood the assignment. She's capitalizing off of the smaller Como Park players and the height advantage that she has. And then, you know, her team is just playing great offensively. They're actually running their sets. Their spacing looks really good. And she has an excellent postmate in Nia Holloway. And so they're executing that high-low phenomenally.
Phenomenally might be an understatement. We'll see if Savanna Jones can add to her total when we return. This is high school girls basketball. The Eagles lead the Cougars 44-24.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Mike Peden and LaToya Turk back with you at Eden Prairie, where the Eagles lead the Cougars 44-24 in a Monday night edition of high school girls basketball. Savanna Jones, a new season high, 21 points in the first half. Nia Holloway with 11, Tori Schlegel with 7. Como Park's notables: Ronnie Porter with 8, Porter with 9, KK Asberry with 8. And LaToya, as you rejoin us, will Como have an answer for Savanna Jones because she was romping all over the post in the first half?
Well, we're going to find out here in these first 5 minutes. And if they don't, it's going to be a rough second half for them.
And it dawned on me why Crystal and her son are here. Cretin-Durham Hall is scheduled to play Como Park a week from tomorrow. In a continuation of that series, Ronnie Porter short on the 3. Offensive rebound, Ronnie Porter cuts inside. And with Ronnie's speed and ingenuity, here's Savanna Jones. Ronnie's speed and ingenuity gives her so many opportunities every game.
And second chance opportunities, Werkel, and you can see right away Como Park's pushing Savanna right out of there. And they're doing a great job defensive rotation-wise here. Much better than what we saw the first half.
KK Asberry can't get the bounce. Singer tried to save it and gets called for the foul.
Those are the ones that you're just like, oh, my bad.
So for Como Park, this is the stretch run. Eden Prairie, they have one more non-conference game. They will get Austin February 19th. Austin, one of the top teams in 3A. And then they go through the second phase of Lake Conference play. Molly Lenz, her 3 rims out. Singer collects the rebound. Singer really holding her own on the boards.
Which is really what they're going to need her to do tonight. It's be an impact. You know, Como Park has scorers. They have folks that can score. And I think
there's one of them.
Important for teams to know everyone has a role.
You just saw one of those scores in Ronnie Porter, who stepped into the elbow J, tried to swoop in for the steal and won't get credit for it, but she will be responsible for forcing a turnover.
Yeah, and she causes all kind of havoc for her defensive assignment. You know, you cannot go to sleep if Ronnie's playing defense on you.
Well, this is the first time I've seen Singer play extended minutes.
You know, Ronnie's one of those players that can play both ends of the floor, offensive and defensive, which we don't get to see a lot of.
Walker to Porter. The kick out to Asberry. Swish!
KK said no pick needed, Ronnie. I got this.
Jones got the positioning on Jada James and draws the foul. With Asberry, that's going to be a big help at St. Peter University next year. She's not afraid to knock down a 3 in your face.
And she just needs a little, really no space.
Singer is not letting Jones escape this time. Savanna was ready for another putback. Singer was able to disrupt her just enough to get the stop.
And just being aware and alert underneath that paint at all times. When you have Nia and you have Savanna under there, you can't go to sleep and you have to move.
Walker goes to Kayla James.
And there's Singer again for that rebound.
Tough fadeaway, though. But she might learn a more refined approach over time.
Yeah, she'll definitely get there. She's definitely someone we want to keep our eye on.
Well, in this game, I'm understanding why she got the starting assignment and why she's getting extended minutes now for Como Park as Eden Prairie runs a high-low for Moorjani. That's the first field goal for Myra. Myra doesn't score a ton. Ronnie to Walker.
And you can see Como Park's more active offensively this half.
Ronnie goes by Schlegel. And she'll get free throws out of it. First trip to the line for the Cougars.
And, I expect to see Ronnie go to the line a little more tonight. You can see she's thinking a little bit more about the placement of where she's taking her shots and going into the lane. She saw that lane was open. And you can also see that she's showing her fouls a little more. She's taking a lot of contact. And so if you watch her body movement and her language, she's talking to the refs without even talking to them.
Averaging 20.4 points per game. In the top 10 in assists and steals based on available data. Top 10 in the state. Has a triple-double to her credit. 26 points, 11 steals, 11 assists against Princeton. Shekyla Walker with the steal.
Getting in that passing lane there.
Didn't get control of it, though. Holloway has numbers. Moorjani goes to Holloway, who is hacked by Porter. Well, and the official, I think one of them, okay, that official was not aware of their friendship.
Right.
And he's having a word with it. And the other one had to come in and say, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
They're just having a little horseplay.
They should have just hugged afterwards.
And now he's laughing it off. Oh, it's good to, that official, I don't know their names, but he's laughing it off. He knows. Ronnie and Nia were just having a little fun. So Holloway to the line for 2. Nia's mother, Nolana, was celebrating this day, and she said she hopes it's not the last time these two will cross paths.
Yes.
On a basketball court. They can't play each other in state because they're in separate classes.
But basketball is definitely a community, and when you play at this level, you're definitely going to see each other again and again and again.
Ronnie and Nia certainly have. Moorjani, baseline. Schlegel for 3, looks short. Look who it is, Savanna Jones. Denied. Savanna struggling in the second half after a flourish in the first half. But Eden Prairie still has a 15-point lead, 47-32. Asberry showcasing her elusiveness. Dimitrik low-arcing 3. Didn't like the form on that one.
And Tori Schlegel's playing great defense on KK. KK has really good handles, and she's not going.
Speaking of handles, Molly Lenz just showed hers off, going coast to coast. Porter. Side fade. Can't hit the 3. Moorjani collects the rebound. She's got some speed. Finds Schlegel for the fast break deuce. Timeout, Como Park.
EP really pushes that ball out on the transition offense. Really pushes that ball on the offensive transition. If you don't get back on defense, they're going to make you pay for it every single time.
No timeout. Como didn't call one, although if Eden Prairie scores again, that might change. I'm a little surprised. Porter finds a cutting Jada James. Nia Holloway swats it away.
And there's a transition offense again, That's fixable.
$19-point lead for the Eagles. Again, nothing at stake as far as seeding is concerned. But Eden Prairie, again, they have 2 games with Minnetonka upcoming.
And a lot of teams have had to take time off that we normally wouldn't have taken off during the season due to COVID protocols. And so I know with this Como Park team, they've been away from the gym for about a week now.
Jada James drops the 3. Well, in Como Park, they look pretty fluid in that win over Mountain Iron Buell.
Yes. And now you can see that with that quarter front against Savanna, it prevents that entry pass.
Here's Holloway looking to get a step on Dimitrik. Goes up. That looks smooth. smooth as silk or butter. And Nia Holloway butters up her score.
All right, that was one, Mike.
Porter, that's Asberry, I should say, who gets the roll.
And she's been trying to get into that lane the last couple of possessions, and she connected this time.
Schlegel thought about the three. There's Savanna Jones, has yet to score this half. Moorjani launches the three. One of the sharpshooters, Jada James with the rebound. Moorjani averaging 44% from three-point range. And there's Ronnie Porter, who comes up short.
You know, that last defensive possession for Como, you saw Chloe Dimtrick really working hard against Nia Holloway to keep the ball out of her hands and get in correct rebounding position. It's going to be interesting to see who's covering her now. I think it's Jada now.
Illegal screen. It's Savanna Jones. Rough half for Savanna here. And Como Park, sloppy inbound pass. So Eden Prairie gets the ball right back. Jones, the kick out. Holloway will look for a target. Shakes off Porter and drains the pull-up.
You know, when you're at that height with that height advantage, and you know you have a mismatch, that's exactly what we expect.
5'3".
Yeah, it's exactly what we expect.
But it's not just having the height advantage, you have to have the moves as well.
Yeah, and it did look pretty.
Nia Holloway has plenty of track experience. Because you know this, LaToya, it helps to be tall against your assignment, but you need that footwork as well, that mobility, the agility.
You know, there's another player that's in this conference that we see that has footwork like that too, Nunu Agara. She moves like that in the paint.
I think you could describe several players in the Lake Conference with that assessment. Yeah. We're going to see a few more of them on Wednesday when Minnetonka and Hopkins go at each other. And there's another woman with fancy footwork, Ronnie Porter.
Ronnie says, I can get down in the paint too.
What can't she do? Maybe she can't dunk it, but that's about it.
Don't test her.
You're probably right. Moorjani with the steal. She gets bumped by Jada James. Kayla having a tough time bringing the ball up. That's the second turnover in the last few possessions. 9:32 remaining in the second half. Eden Prairie up 55-39.
And I had a chance to talk to the James's dad before the game, and he said, you know, his girls have just been working on their all-around game to be more efficient at each position.
Shakyla Walker read the route, pulls up from 14, swish. And that is her first field goal. Shakyla Walker, if she can get going, that might give Como Park a boost.
And, you know, to make a run for state, they're definitely going to need her to show up.
Holloway ran into a wall, and as athletic as she is, 1-on-3 is usually not going to work out. And she's hit with her first personal foul.
And that's pretty impressive to pick up your first foul in the second, this deep in the second half.
Last time we were here, she fouled out against Hopkins. Of course, Hopkins can match just about any team.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie, there's that body language you were talking about.
Yes.
Didn't have to say a word, but tried to persuade the official that it was a kickball. Ronnie's got a younger sister, by the way, who's playing JV time right now, Amani Crump.
Yeah, I got an opportunity to work out with them over the summer at some open gyms in St. Paul, and she ran with the big girls.
Ronnie Porter picks up the dime. Jada James with her second triple. And that will be enough to get Ellen Weesey to call a timeout. Como Park trying to make a fight of it, 55-44.
Getting close, nipping away, nipping away, nipping away. The game is still within reach. It's only, 11 points there. game is definitely within reach.
It certainly is, although Eden Prairie, I would not want to underestimate their ability to respond. I think the big difference, though, Savanna Jones, an afterthought. She hasn't registered a bucket in this half, had a couple of chances early.
And the defensive Como's defenses have used different tactics against her. They're not letting her just sit down on them in the paint. They're actually doing what's called a quarter front on her.
And we mentioned Eden Prairie doesn't have an explosive score. They spread it around, but Nia Holloway has 3 20-point games. 2 of her double-doubles came against Lake Conference competition, St. Michael Albertville and Wayzata. In fact, the Wayzata game got some press and won films, did a highlight package. Wayzata won the game, but Nia Holloway got a double-double out of it in a battle of future Gophers teammates.
You know, Nia's not in the game right now, so we'll see if Como Park's able to capitalize off of that, because when Nia is in the game, there is a mismatch at that position. So, and again, we have a mismatch here.
The PA announcer sums it up perfectly. All net for Ashley Fritz, who gets on the board. A much-needed 3 on the ATO for Eden Prairie. Walker finds a cutting Jada James.
And she's just a little deep in the arc to get the charge call.
Right, Fritz was inside the restricted zone. As you know, that was put in place a few years ago. Anytime you're in that zone, you're going to get hit with the blocking foul. So Jada James to the line for 2. Jada wants to open a bakery someday. She's also quite the softball player, one of the top sluggers in her league.
And I think Nia got a whole 30 seconds of rest there, and she's back in the game.
Well, Nia's got the stamina. She doesn't need to sit for long. Jada James sinks the free throws. 12-point margin. Pride and bragging rights on the line here, but it would be a helpful win for Como Park if they can secure it.
Man, if you guys can just watch how Nia, she does a technique called the swim over to get in front of her defender. She's not worried about her pushing her out the lane. It's a great technique that post players use to get position.
How about Myra Moorjani calling out the pattern and opening a lane for herself?
Executing.
Ronnie Porter says, I can do that too. Well, she'll go to the line for 2. Rondogg, her nickname. It started in AAU, and she was known as Peanut, I think, for a time, but Rondogg, at least that's what Nia calls her, kind of stuck, at least in my head.
I was going to say, this sounds like something Coley would call her, Rondogg.
But an amazing career, 3-time St. Paul City Conference Player of the Year. Splits at the line, and another foul on Eden Prairie. That is their last to give.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're soon they're going to be in the bonus here.
I think with Ronnie, she doesn't have as many points as Andrea Adams, and I wonder if she did, if she would get a little more press, because what Ronnie can do, well, Andrea was a legend in her own right, but Ronnie is so fluid. She can make so many things happen, and not just with scoring.
Yeah, you know, I think that comes down to the conference that she's playing in, as well as our Minnesota press here, because she definitely has the accolades to get the coverage that she deserves. But a little nod to Chloe Dimtrick. Chloe Dimtrick is 2 rebounds away from her 500th rebound tonight.
Jada James with her first field goal. Ronnie Porter picks up another assist. And LaToya, you and I spoke of this. A lot of college coaches, at least in the eyes of notable names in the Minneapolis and St. Paul City conferences. I'll get to that in a minute. Ashley Fritz hits a much-needed triple for the Eagles, who are trying to hold off Como Park.
Yeah, and when you got your point-playing defense coast to coast, everyone else got to cover their man too.
Tough pass as Jada James was trapped in the corner. Ashley Fritz zooms her way to the bucket. She's got 8 off the bench in quick succession.
And just like you said, EP spreads the wealth.
KK Asberry tried to force it on the drive. Eagles with numbers. Moorjani went to take it herself. Jada James couldn't stay in bounds. As I was going to say, Larry McKenzie brought this up, and fellow coaches and their friends chimed in as well. Not a lot of college scouts have come to Minneapolis to St. Paul City Conference games, even though Como Park and Minneapolis North, the North boys and the Como girls, have set the standard for a long time.
Also, as coaches, we know this, and so we also have to take some responsibility for getting our kids' names out there as well. 10 years ago, the game looks a lot different than what it looks now. We have video that we're able to use, and we have to be resources for our kids. There's enough of great and amazing coaches in the inner city that we can set the standard.
Jeanne Singer to the line, 1-1 as Eden Prairie's in the penalty. And to your point, LaToya, last year, Ronnie Porter, one of her highlight reels from AAU, got nearly 1 million views on YouTube when she dropped, I think, 30 in a tournament in Milwaukee.
Yes.
And I can attest to this as well. Andrea Adams was my first star. When I shared these games on YouTube, my audience couldn't get enough of her when she was playing.
Yeah, that's how I got my basketball scholarship. I took it upon myself to make a video, and that was in the 90s. We didn't have the capabilities that we have now.
Oh,
and I
God,
sent
you
it
had
off.
no TikTok back then,
Yeah.
no Instagram?
Yeah.
That must have been a lot of time editing.
VHS.
Nia Holloway pulls up, and she is up to 18. Como Park looking for the stop. Nia Holloway gets back in time.
Great hustle there.
Lots of poise.
And then comes back with the...
Nia Holloway, she can cover a lot of ground in a hurry. If you're wondering about her track commitments, high jump and sprints. Those are the two disciplines she participates in most. She is the school record holder in the high jump, and she's got some speed.
Yeah, she's been a competitor at the state level for track as well. She brings good dose of energy to the floor. She also pushes her team.
And she has a humble take on her celebrity status after the Care 11 story aired. She was working a youth tournament. One of the Eden Prairie participants came up, asked for her photo, and Nia, happy to do it. Nia, one of the few athletes who did not share her offers, so when she got the nod to go to Minnesota, it came as a surprise to some, with everyone seemingly eager to promote what schools are giving them a look. Nia decided, I'll wait till it's official.
Yeah.
But that speaks to her humility. She doesn't want to make it about herself. Asberry around Porter. Singer to Ronnie Porter for 3. That was all Singer. Singer's efforts set up that triple. And the more I've watched her play tonight, LaToya, the more I'm impressed with what Singer has done.
Yes.
I think she has been a welcome boost of development. And how about Ashley Fritz speeding her way inside, 10 off the bench. And that should be enough to give Eden Prairie the win. When it looked like Como Park was going to make a fight of it, Fritz comes in and scores a quick 10.
That pendulum can swing so quickly.
Ronnie Porter nowhere to go. Moorjani to Fritz. That should say that's Schlegel, but that's okay. Nia Holloway is there. And timeout, Como Park, I believe. And you saw Nia Holloway directing traffic as Moorjani brought it up.
They have a great balance. They're sync. They know each other. They utilize each other in the best position. They just play this EP team plays very well together. They don't need a lot of direction. They're disciplined in their sets, their offensive sets, and so it clicks for them tonight. It looks really good.
And this will be an encouraging win for Eden Prairie because Savanna Jones, consistency, I imagine they'll try to work on that moving forward. She gets 21 in the first half and doesn't register a point, at least not so far in the second half. Ashley Fritz comes in. Nia Holloway, you know she's going to be consistent. And that is going to speak volumes to Eden Prairie's ability to handle the changing circumstances of a game of basketball.
Yeah, and it gives the guards and Savanna confidence that she can receive that entry pass down low and connect and produce. And so we'll see how much they continue to use that throughout the season.
And it also speaks to Eden Prairie's ability to adapt.
Yes.
Because Savanna was struggling, Eden Prairie didn't try to force it. They looked for other avenues.
And Fritz is staying very active defensively.
Shakyla Walker slips through her defender. Quiet game for Walker, but she's going the JUCO route, and she may have a bright future ahead of her as well in this sport.
Rotation's going to be key there. Yeah, they missed that one.
Eden Prairie looking to eat up time here with 3 minutes to go. Jones to Lenz, and Molly will shoot two. Molly going to Illinois State in a couple of years.
Ronnie Porter. That's her second, team 6.
Averaging 9.1. Her scoring has dipped a bit as the season has moved along, but once again, Eden Prairie doesn't need a 30-point score.
Yeah. She's a great facilitator on the floor.
Also has a nickname for her car, Bonnie. If you haven't watched an Eden Prairie game earlier this season, that is her fun fact. One of the captains splits at the line. Ronnie calling out the play.
Yeah, it's just really hard. Fritz is all over her defensively.
Asberry inside to James. Now Asberry has it again. Savanna Jones and Fritz on her position. Asberry finds Walker. Can't
And they're
hit the
out
runner.
again.
Moorjani catches up to it. Lets Kayla James go by. Myra picks up a transition bucket. And Eden Prairie looks like they will pick up another win. Singer gets another field goal to her credit. But what she did outside of scoring, I am going to be excited to see how she develops, especially next year when she takes over as one of the senior leaders. Jada James among the graduates for this year's class. Molly Lenz drops a three.
Yeah,
And look at the bench.
Yeah, when you're doubling up top, you got to have that rotation. You cannot leave the shooter open, or you're going to do exactly what Molly did, drop it down.
If you missed it, the bench was doing a can-can. Ronnie Porter with the shovel pass to Singer.
And she's connected with Singer here the last two possessions.
This has been an impressive game for Ronnie Porter. It may not get a win for Como Park, but what Porter has done tonight to facilitate, we've come to expect it, but it speaks largely to who she is as an athlete, how determined she is. Anyone out there, take note, because
Yes.
you might run into some games like tonight where Como Park comes up short, but Ronnie Porter still found ways to contribute.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to her playing at the next level. We haven't heard anything about, where she's going to be going next year, but wherever she's at, she's going to make a huge impact. She's an amazing player on and off the court. She's a true leader, very high basketball IQ, and there's really nothing that I have that would deter someone from picking her up.
Ronnie Porter bring shades of Alexis Pratt as someone who is a difference maker. I think some scouts, they see height and they might be scared away by smaller players.
They should just watch a game. And she usually has the freshest kicks on the court, right?
She's got the bright orange to match her orange hoodie. Loose ball, Asberry scoops it up. Finds Singer again, and Jeanne will shoot a pair. Jeanne, a junior, if she can get a little more polish to her game, she could be lights out as a post player for Como Park. Again, I understand why Yolanda elected to give her the start tonight and why she has the confidence to give her all these minutes.
Yeah, she definitely comes across as someone who's going to continue to work. She's definitely shown effort against a very dominant post player in Savanna and Nia tonight. So, and it's not common that we see a kid that we haven't seen before, and I've never seen Singer before.
Well, this could be the start of something special for Jeanne. If anyone's out there watching this tape, I know a few college coaches do, but it will be Eden Prairie who hangs on for the win. Como Park staying with it, though. They're not going to quit, no matter the score. Ronnie Porter.
And there's Singer again.
Well, she'll get 2 more out of it. Porter a little frustrated that the 3 didn't go down.
Falls at number 22, Ashley Fritz. That is her 4th.
LaToya, how many times have we discussed this, though?
44, Singer.
Coaches, your high school coaches, potential college scouts, they watch everything. They
They
watch
do.
how players conduct themselves when the game is out of reach.
They do. There's so many different aspects to the game outside of just scoring that will get you an entry pass to a scholarship or get you a denial to a scholarship. And so it really is important to make sure that you check your body language and your effort from baseline to baseline.
Jeanne Singer will finish with 10 points. Ronnie Porter gets 1 more steal and the layup. That will count. Like we said, Ronnie never takes a play off no matter the score, so she'll finish with 22 to tie a game high with her buddy Nia Holloway. 80-64 the final. This was a fun showcase.
Yes.
A great example of staying with it for Como Park and for Eden Prairie. An encouraging win. It was Savanna Jones all over the first half. In the second half, it was Fritz and Holloway. That equals a win for the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles executed tonight.
They certainly did. We'll try to get a word with our Rondogg and the legend before we wrap it up. This is high school girls basketball. Eden Prairie beats Como Park 80-64. And I'm joined by the legend and Rondogg, who both got 22 points. It was Eden Prairie who won the day, but both of you define play until the final buzzer, and that was evident until the final buzzer. I do have to follow up, though. There was that one moment, we just want to explain it here, when you almost got teed up. There was one official who didn't quite understand the friendship between these two, so Nia and Ronnie wanted to explain how that got settled.
I just don't think the one ref knew that we were friends, and he was super close to teeing me up. And I was like, "Yo, we're friends." And then Ronnie's over here. I don't know her.
It was a tech, okay?
It was not.
Well, I'll let the viewers at home decide that. I don't have 2-minute reports. I can't go back and retroactively add text. But how excited were the two of you looking forward to this game? I know the two of you have trained together. You played alongside each other in AAU. So when we set up this matchup, or you did, EP and Como Park, how excited were you for today?
I was super excited about it. I've been looking forward to it since breakdown just because I'm friends with a lot of people on this team. So I thought it would be a really fun game, and it was.
I was excited. It's our last time playing against each other, and it's our senior year, so go big or go home, I guess.
Well, might not be the last time, though, depending on college commitments where Ronnie ends up. Well, if it's Wisconsin or Indiana, I don't know. If it's a Big Ten rival, Nia might have something to say about that, although maybe there's still room, I tease, to come to Minnesota. But even though only one team could win, how fun is it to go against someone you've been alongside with for a long time? The two of you, your parents, your family, everyone was sharing highs, welcome messages, all of that. This really was a friendly rivalry.
I think it's a lot of fun when you know other people on the other team just because it creates a sense of competition that you wouldn't have with people you don't know.
To me, it was really fun. I got to play, Nia. It's all laughs at the end of the day. It was a great game. And like you said, family, our family's close. So it's like, regardless of the outcome, we're still family. Everything is fun at the end of the day.
Well, there was a game. Nia, Eden Prairie showcased their versatility. It was all Savanna Jones in the first half, and then she was neutralized, but you and Ashley Fritz in particular stepped up in the second. How did you make those adjustments when Savanna was having some difficulty?
I think it just really shows our depth on the bench. It's really helpful when we have people that can score all on our team. So it was really helpful to be that way.
And Ronnie, 22 points, but you picked up several assists, and we saw some examples of how you can influence the game in all facets. You got a couple of blocks against some of your taller competition. How do you think you've developed your game over the years?
With the block situation, I actually I don't know if it's math or something, but I kind of have the great timing when it comes to blocks. I just been working hard, really. With the whole 22 points, I didn't know I had, actually. But, yeah.
She actually learned the blocks from me, playing with me for so long.
That is the truth. That's the truth.
I was thinking she might have learned a thing or two from Nia's high jump technique as well, since you took up track last year.
Yeah, I watched. I can't jump that high, but I can block a shot.
Not yet. I think Nia can show you how to get a couple more inches on that vertical.
Yeah.
So after this, I don't want to say who the better athlete is because that would be foolish, but as far as the bragging rights, you could see. So what are the conversations going to be like after a game like this?
I think it just really shows that I'm undefeated against Ronnie in every way. I've never once lost to her ever, so I think we can see who's clearly the better.
I've lost to me in scrimmages in practice. That counts. That counts. I won the 1v1 match tonight, though.
That's not true.
I do remember one move where Nia used her footwork to get around you, Ronnie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I tried. I did try.
Hey, well, when you have two Division I caliber athletes go at each other, I would call it a push or a draw. How does that sound?
Yeah, I can go with that.
Just for tonight.
The two of you can settle it afterward in the backyard. I do want to leave you with this, just for anyone watching out there. What we saw tonight, flat-out effort, no matter what the score was. For players that might go through a similar situation, whether the win is in hand, the outcome, how do you approach a game for anyone that wants to be in your position one day?
I think really just to keep playing till the end, like you said before. Even though we won, it was still a really, really close game, and the energy in the gym was you couldn't really tell who was up. So it's really just playing till the end and having that competitive spirit.
Like she said, playing to the end and having heart from the first buzzer to the last, honestly.
Well said. And you want to say hi to anybody?
Nah.
They'll be all right tonight.
All right. I think they will be, and hopefully this won't be the last time the two of you get to meet, but I know this was a lot of fun. I'm glad the two of you got to enjoy some high-octane basketball, and hopefully we'll get to see more of that later this season. I know I would be fine if the two of you made it to state, but there's a lot that can happen between now and then. But thanks for putting on a show, and thanks for showcasing what sportsmanship is, both on the court and away from it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nia Holloway and Ronnie Porter, who both got double deuces on the evening. And that does it here from Eden Prairie. For LaToya, Turk, and the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Peden. Thanks for watching.